Hey guys, it's Eva and I'm here with Daniel. Hello!
Hello.
It's his birthday coming up, and when you guys watch this video, his birthday will have already passed, and it was the 14th of July. And for his birthday, we are making you a
ice cream cake.
Yay! Aren't you so excited?
Yep.
I'm not sure if it's more cost-saving to make it yourself or to buy it. I'm pretty sure it's probably more cost-saving to buy it, but this is a custom one. It's everything he's ever wanted.
And it's gonna taste delicious.
Mm-hmm.
Probably better than a store-bought one. Hopefully.
I hope so too. But yeah, none of us are professional bakers or anything. We didn't really know exactly what we were doing going in, but it's okay because it's a learning experience and we want to share it with you guys. So if you guys do want to make your own ice cream cake, this is how you do it the lazy way. We are not about making stuff from scratch like the whole cake mix. Making ice cream cake is already time consuming, so. Alright, let's get right into this. I said this was going to be easy, so there's a lot of pre-made stuff. Feel free to make these things from scratch, but it seemed way too tedious at the moment. We used 2 boxes of Devil's Food chocolate cake. We mixed it according to the directions. 1 box is used for the top cake layer, and the other was used for cupcakes as the filler for later. And this is me handing it off to Daniel to do the rest of the mixing. I'm going to be using a spring-form cake pan to make things easier for me. I like to line all my baking pans with baking paper so the cake slips out easier in the end. Using a little oil or butter helps with sticking the paper to the sides. Then pour the cake mixture into the pan you plan to make the cake in and bake according to the directions again. I also like to jiggle the pan a bit and tap it to remove air bubbles before placing it into the oven. While that bakes, use a few Oreos of your choice. We use double stuffed because we all know that's the best Oreo. Place them in a plastic bag, then beat it with a blunt object to break it into pieces for ice cream. You can use your hands if you want bigger chunks. This is approximately how big most of the Oreo crumbs ended up being. We did end up adding more larger chunks later for more texture. But for now, set the Oreos aside. Now for the ice cream, use whatever ice cream you want. This tub was most cost efficient and it had both the chocolate and vanilla we wanted to make the cake half and half. Scoop out an appropriate amount of ice cream into separate bowls. However much you scoop out depends on how much ice cream you want in your cake. If it's too much, I mean that's fine. Oreo ice cream is always good by itself as well. This is Daniel attempting to drop the Oreo crumbs into the ice cream from up above and making a mess. But mix the ice cream with the Oreo crumbs and then saran wrap it and set aside in the fridge so it doesn't melt and become soup. It might be also important to note that you should be gentle with this because you want to keep some of the chunks in there. When the cake is done baking and completely chilled, remove it from the pan and take off the baking paper. Using a knife, cut off the excess cake you don't need to isolate the layer of cake you'll be putting into the final cake. If any professional bakers are watching this, please don't judge my cake cutting. I know I suck at doing this. Also, if you're new to this, you should probably cut a little bit at a time. It's better to cut too little than too much because you can always go back and trim it. Save the scraps or garbage cake in a separate bowl because we will be needing every single little bit. Now using your fingers or a whisk, we actually found that a whisk worked a lot better later on. Break up the garbage cake into small pieces. We knew we'd need more to make the bottom layer of the ice cream cake because we wanted it to be quite thick. So we took cupcakes from the second box mix that we made and added those in as well. Keep breaking the cake up until you get a texture similar to this. Then again with the pre-made stuff, use your frosting of choice. We used buttercream. Add a big spoonful or two into the garbage cake and mix it all up. You should have a consistency that's moldable in the end, similar to cake pop dough, which pretty much means that you can roll it up in your hands. Now going back to the clean cake pan from the beginning, we lined it again just in case with baking paper and then scooped the buttercream and cake mixture in. Then using a spatula or your fingers, whatever you prefer, we flatten the mix, make sure it gets into every corner and make it as dense as possible. This layer is so good in the end, it kind of reminds me of fudge, and this is the bottommost layer of your cake. Saran wrap and then freeze it for an hour or two just to set up. Then add the Oreo ice cream we made before, making sure to get into every corner possible. If you do plan to make it too flavored like us, you can choose to finish one flavor, freeze, add the other flavor, then freeze it again if it makes it easier. We were pretty impatient, so we kind of just went for it and put in both chocolate and vanilla together at the same time. Spreading the ice cream also helps if it's softened ahead of time, but don't soften it too much because you don't want it to melt too much on you. And then again, saran wrap it and then freeze it for a very long time, or overnight, just as long as it's fairly solid. After it's set, if you have the same pan as me, pop off the sides and move the cake to a cake plate or board. If not, just flip it out. This is very time sensitive, so work quickly or it'll melt and be a pain, as you can see. But anyways, all you're doing is adding the top layer of cake we cut from before. And if you need to, like we did because it did start melting, smooth out the ice cream. When you're done, again, freeze it for a very long time or until it's fairly solid. We actually left this overnight just to be safe. When the ice cream is set, with your choice of frosting again, this time we went with whipped vanilla for no particular reason at all. Quickly ice a very thin layer to crumb coat the cake. Don't worry about the cake peeking out, we just need something to solidify and hold everything in. Again, when you're done your crumb coat, freeze the cake and then actually frost it with as much frosting as you'd like, and put it back into the fridge again to solidify. While your cake sets, we wanted to use half Oreos as decoration, so using a knife, saw through the middle of the Oreos, holding down the middle to get a clean cut. Don't just chop it with force or your cuts aren't guaranteed to look nice, as you can see. Now that your cake is chilled again, time to decorate. This is totally up to you how you want this to look. We pretty much just used up whatever ingredients we had left, but there are so many more ways you can make this more visually appealing with decorations if you're willing to buy the materials. I just placed the Oreo halves around the top of the cake and then used the remaining frosting to pipe rosettes between them. I also ended up painting the pointy part of the rosette, so I just got rid of that later. I also had a tiny bit of icing left, so I just used it to pipe half of the bottom of the cake with this pattern because you can't waste delicious pre-made icing. Chill the cake again to be safe, and then you can finally cut into your delicious ice cream cake. Just take in how nice the cross sections are. I'm actually so surprised at how well this cake turned out. If you like this video, give me a big thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't, with the notification bell clicked, and let me know when your birthday is down below. Other than that, I will see you all later. Bye!